apartment or my condo, just like what was happening in Wisconsin. They would just rearrange things. Both in Wisconsin and in Florida, they would always leave a penny. They'd always leave a penny somewhere. It might be in the bathroom. It might be on the patio. It might be in the kitchen. And Gina, I've never been one to just throw my change out. I've always kept my change in a jar or in my purse. I've never been one to just drop pennies out of my pockets. So, and I could always tell they made a point of putting the penny in a place where I would notice. I would find things smeared on my refrigerator. I found fingerprints, which the police, having been there 3 times, would never dust for fingerprints, not even once. Not even twice I showed them distinct fingerprints. They would do nothing about it. And the perpetrators, there was a couple, she I believe was Puerto Rican. He was, I don't know what his nationality was. It seemed to be predominantly, my perpetrators seemed to be predominantly Hispanic and black. I don't know why. I don't know if I was a target of a racial crime. I'm not sure. To this day, I believe it has something to do with those men in Racine who were stalking me. But anyway, so when I decided I was moving back to Wisconsin, I was sick of the fumes. I was sick of the illegal entries. Nobody was helping me. I decided to move home and move back in with my mother. Well, when I announced that I was moving back, when I sort of publicly announced I was moving back over the phone and at work, that next night I got zapped with what felt like a major electrical current. I sat bolt upright in bed. I could hear the people up above me. Now, this was 2 a.m., Gina. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I sat bolt upright in bed, and I could hear the people up above me laughing. Well, I didn't know what had happened, but I somehow had the feeling either they were involved or they could at least watch me. I did call the police. The police treated me like a mental patient. The first question out of their mouth was, "What medications are you taking?" And I told them I am not taking any medications. I've been attacked somehow with some sort of electricity. I don't even know how. The other reason I believe that my neighbors were involved up above me, when I couldn't get back to sleep in my bed. I went to the living room, laid on the sofa. I could hear a heavy cart overhead rolling into the living room. The next thing I know, once I got comfortable, I got zapped again. I got zapped again and again and again. Gina, there was nowhere in my unit that I could go to feel safe. I finally went out and slept on my balcony, and I slept there quite a bit. That was the only place in my unit that I felt I could safely sleep.
Yeah, they follow you around because I've had to drag my mattress in the kitchen, my mattress in the living room.
Yeah.
And you're not safe in your apartment or your home.
No,
they just
no, you're
can't.
not.
They've got it set up. I don't know exactly how they do it, of course, because I'm not as as technically advanced as they are with this, and I would never dream of doing this to another human being. But they'll follow you everywhere. I had to move my bed around. I got rid of my box spring because I found out they were heating me up with the coils. I found a huge hole in the side of my box spring, and they were targeting that and heating me up and cooling me down. So in the middle of winter, I'd be freezing, or in the middle of summer, I'd heat up to 104.
Sure.
So I got rid of my box spring. And they just will follow you around because they get a kick out of this. This is fun to them.
They do. Well, you can hear the laughter. I could hear the laughter. On one level, I think it's purely for entertainment purposes. And I have my own theory, Gina. I think these are the same kids that grew up playing video games. I'm not bashing video games. However, the purpose of a lot of those video games was to kill and zap the creatures or the other...
Like Dungeons and Dragons, which was so deadly at one time.
And I'm not at all familiar with that, but my guess is this is the video game generation doing this.
Well, I think Dungeons and Dragons, I think kids actually died at one time with that. I was a lot younger when that came out. That was probably 15, 20 years ago. Oh, but I think there were some suicides or something over that.
Really?
Yeah, well, like you said, these video games, especially the new ones, they have, I saw one the other day, dressed some girl to look like a bimbo. I mean, these are video games for kids. I've seen other ones like you're talking about, like they're like virtual reality where you go out and you kill. Those are the ones we're talking about.
Right.
So they learn this at a young age, I think.
We have a whole generation of people who are now adults who grew up with the entertainment idea of killing each other, killing people. And I did have a friend in Florida who told me, he was a Puerto Rican male, and I told him what was going on. He said, Lisa, you are the perfect victim. You're small, you're white, you're a single female, and you live alone. He said, you are the perfect victim. So I thought, aha, well, that says a great deal right there. But people, these are stalkers, these are predators, these are people just looking to hurt someone. And how I've been dealing with it, well, the story goes on and on, Gina. I've been dealing with this now, I believe, for several years. I only found out about 6 months ago that there were weapons that were considered electronic. It wasn't until I got on the Internet and looked up electric weapons, and then it led me to electronic weapons, electronic harassment. That is when I went, aha, this is what's going on. Because now it all made sense. I was getting zapped. I was being stalked. The whole thing was part of a big game. You know, I've heard so many different theories, people thinking it's the government, it's gangs. My perpetrators, some of them looked very militaristic. They looked like perhaps they'd been in the military. They looked like perhaps they were part of law enforcement. And others have looked like gang members. So I'm having a very difficult time really putting together a solid theory as to who is doing this and why.
Well, there's a very large hierarchy to the organized stalking. There seems to be very wealthy people at top that can fund this, and then on the bottom there's what I call a foot soldier, which is the bottom of the barrel. Hey, get this person and give them $5 to stand out in a bush somewhere or do whatever, and trick them into doing it, or tell them you're going to get a drug charge. And I think there's cult members in there, because cults, I looked it up and I've read a little bit about it, they stay up all night. They believe in indoctrination and mind control. They don't like the way we live. They do not believe in going to work every day. So there's a wide spread hierarchy, and gang members can fit into that. I know certain police officers do fit into it. It's not a lie. Police officers do seem to be changing over. This is not uncommon that I'm hearing this from you. This is very typical of many victims. So there's a lot of different levels of perpetrators, and they're networking, because I just heard from a lady in Springfield yesterday. I just heard from another girl here that lives a couple miles from me, and now I hear from you. I hear from people all over the world. So this is a very not large network, and Satanists, I believe, that are combining forces with cults, criminals, gang members, deviants. All these people are fitting in together, and they seem to just be networking, and that's why it seems to me that they can stalk for 24/7, and that's how they get so many people. A lot of Satanists probably don't go to work every day, and some probably do. You got all the way up to the Illuminati, who are probably very wealthy and controlling things. And then you've got the foot soldiers who are coming out and not working. And like you said, it could be some of these kids who are playing these death video virtual games, and they've turned over to a dark side, and maybe they don't work during the day, and they've got time. Misguided sometimes, misguided people, I think, or people who do enjoy this. I mean, these people actually do get a kick out of it. So it's all different levels.
Yes, I believe so. But I mean, I have tried sleeping in so many different places. I can't even begin to tell you. Under a heavy oak coffee table, I tried curling up on the top of a washing machine. I've tried to sleep in a bathtub. I've slept in basements. I've slept in my attic.